Hello everyone, my name is Igor Sushko. As many of you are gonna hear me speak for the first time, please take note that my name is pronounced Igor Sushko.
LBC News. On your radio, on Global Player, and
play LBC News,
where the news never stops. This is LBC News.
I spoke today to Igor Sushko. He was born in Ukraine. He moved with his parents to Germany and then Japan and became a very successful racing driver, notably in the Super GT series with skills and fame akin to Formula One. Now, he's been watching the war in Ukraine with dismay as he sees the country of his birth face unprecedented aggression from President Putin, a leader that he considers to be delusional. Well, I spoke to him in his home in California a little earlier this morning, and I started by asking Igor what he felt watching the damage being done to lives and buildings in his home city.
It's surreal. It is something that is not anything that I think people around the world in any country imagined as even a remote possibility just 4 weeks ago. And people try to find explanations and try to understand why this is happening. And to anybody that actually speaks Russian, that heard Putin make those two speeches right before the invasion. In the first speech, he gave a long, utterly false, and just fantastical lecture of history and claimed that Ukraine is not a country.
But your multicultural life experience, what does it teach you about how to confront that kind of bullying by one state to another? Do you have to fight them? Do you have to accommodate them?
There's not even a sliver of a doubt of what the approach must be. The answer is really, really simple, and it is staring us in the face. Based on those speeches, Putin is clearly crazy. He's delusional. So asking why this is happening is like trying to understand through rationality a crazy person's behavior. There is no answer.
Do you think he's made the mistake of underestimating the resolve of the Ukrainian people?
That goes without question. The entire world has underestimated the resolve of the Ukrainian people. And I cannot be more proud of my relatives and the country of my birth, the people there. What a beacon they have become to the entire free world. The unity, at least in spirit, that I sense around the world is very much thanks to the bravery and the humanity of the Ukrainian people.
And Zelensky has emerged as a remarkable leader.
I believe that had President Zelensky not been president, this would have turned out radically different. At the end of the day, the leaders representing various democratic nations around the world are people. They're individuals. They have their own personalities, and they have feelings and emotions. And it is absolutely impossible for a person that is not a psychopath to recognize what an incredible and brave and strong person President Zelensky is. And he does not waver in his conviction. And he is right now the epitome of representation of what the Ukrainian people are. You may recall that the United States administration was pressuring President Zelensky not once to escape Ukraine and set up a government in exile, because everybody, it appears, thought that Ukraine was going to fall within a matter of days, that Kiev was going to be taken within 48 to 72 hours. The only people that didn't think that were Ukrainians. When I did speak to my nephew prior to the invasion, when I was expressing my concerns to him, and he's a sniper in the Ukrainian Army Reserve, he explained to me the Ukrainian military is nothing like what it used to be in 2014. And my nephew told me that I have to understand that over the past 8 years, a lot has changed. And that the Ukrainian military, although he did not believe that the invasion, that blitzkrieg would happen, he assured me that the Ukrainian military is fully prepared.
From your family contacts then in Kyiv, even to this day, even though they are suffering, is there still confidence they can win this thing?
The Ukrainian people have not wavered whatsoever. They will not lose. The only two potential outcomes in this situation is that the entire country of Ukraine will turn into rubble as a result of Putin's shelling and cruise missiles and even thermobaric bombs that are being used intentionally against civilians, so that there is no Ukrainian left, or the West finally steps up. I wrote about this going back to Twitter on March 1st. Everything I wrote, I put down my thoughts, and it starts with the assertion that the Rubicon was crossed long ago, that this is a war not just between Russia and Ukraine. This is a war between the entire civilized world that Putin attacked. This will not end with just Ukraine if the free world does not actually respond assertively. Some of these things, the red lines that are being discussed by the pundits all over the West, they're completely arbitrary and made up. There's always this supposed threat of nuclear response by Putin. It is just total nonsense. Whether it is U.S. supplied javelins and thousands of them that are destroying Russian military equipment and soldiers, or it is NATO and U.S. planes or U.S. ships and carriers that are involved in that action to protect Ukrainian civilians against this evil, makes no difference to the Kremlin whatsoever. The result is identical. The only thing that will come from the West's continued delay in action is a continuation of the genocide that's happening in Ukraine right now of innocent people and cities. Eventually, I'm certain the West will step in and begin to destroy Russian military forces that are within the borders of Ukraine. It is an absolute foregone conclusion that that will happen. But that delay is very puzzling to me.
Igor Sushko, megastar racing driver, Super GT Series in Japan, a name well known there, now in retirement in California, born in Kyiv and speaking to me from California a few hours ago.
I put together a few slides to save you some time looking online.